Jeff, hey, congratulations on your new film, Guns of Redemption.
Thank you, Gig. I appreciate it. Thank you for having me.
You know what? Films like this is a guilty pleasure that we love to watch, on a Friday and Saturday night.
Mm.
But let's hear it from you first. Is what initially drew you that you wanted to be part of this project, Guns of Redemption?
Well, first and foremost, it's a Western, and I'm a sucker for Westerns. Starting all the way back with Silverado. I mean, I was a fan always growing up of Westerns, and then it was such a big joy, a great joy for me to be hired to do Silverado years ago. And I've been very fortunate to every time, every few years when the Westerns come back for a bit, to be able to participate in a few of them. And so we're riding a little wave right now. And when I did Horizon with Kevin Costner, it was fantastic. And then when Guns of Redemption came up, and they were talking to me about it, I jumped on it right away. And in answer to your question, Gig, I love the genre, and it's so wonderful when I'm lucky to end up with a good filmmaker who also appreciates the genre as much as does Brian Skiba. And so when I read the script, I said, "I'm in. I love the dynamics between the two characters and and the whole journey that they both are going through."
You know what? There is something about Westerns. I spoke to Kevin Costner, a few weeks ago, and
Mm.
Horizon is like a love letter. And you yourself being in Horizon, Wyatt Earp, and Silverado, it seems like it keeps on drawing it back to you.
Yes, absolutely. And Kevin is a friend and I'm a huge fan, and I love the filmmaker that he always was, and even more so who he's become. You just watch him keep growing as a filmmaker. And so whenever he calls me and asks me, I'm definitely in. There'll be more of that with Kevin, and I'm hoping there'll be more with Brian, which I know he's got a few more we're already talking about. But um yeah, it's kind of like, well, let's say this, Gig. I'm so fortunate to be able to play like children and get paid like adults. I mean, that's what it is in film for me always, but especially in Westerns. Really, I get to play like a child and get paid like an adult.
You
Mhm.
know what? I'm jealous of you that you get to do this and get to transport, hundreds of years ago into that costume,
Mm.
into that setting, and that's the wonderful thing about being in a Western.
It
Absolutely.
truly is because I've always felt that if they, let's say that you're on a Western set and it's the first thing in the morning and they line up 10 of the actors, put the wardrobe on, they've got the horse standing behind them, and the director can just walk down the line and go, "Today, good guy, bad guy, good guy, bad guy, good guy, bad guy. That's who you're going to play." And then the next day, just walk down the line and say, "And today, you're a bad guy, good guy, bad." And because of the wardrobe, the history, the surroundings, and really think, especially because we've all fantasized about that time in the wild west when we were younger, and at least I always big fan of westerns. And so when ended up playing westerns, it was easy to play the bad guy or the good guy because you're halfway there. You just drop into the setting and your wardrobe and the surroundings. And so it's always truly been uh, like a day in the playground, if you will. Just playing cowboys. It was great. Yeah. Yeah.
And and this is truly the Wild West because you play General Bork, and I want to
Hmm.
say he is absolutely despicable. I mean,
Thank you. Thank you, Gig.
yeah, how did you get into a character like General Bork where he's not to play on a Western word, but very unforgiving on the actions that he commits.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, actually, it wasn't difficult. I mean, at this point in time, there's such a reservoir of different concepts of characters inside that I have played and variations on, but it was pretty much in the script. It was there on the paper of who this character was. And again, as I said before, once you put the wardrobe on and when you have a great costumer and costume designer and the crew and the wranglers, and I mean everything starts to the characters start to come out of the what you put on. And once you walk down you saw the town. I mean, it's amazing the look of this film. And with the field where you see the wagons, the wide shots of the wagons going across the big field, that was actually the location of one of the big battles of the Civil War. So different places we were filming were actually historic places uh, during the Civil War. So in answer to your question, Westerns have always been less character work for me than others. And I think it's because some of these characters were sort of envisioned when I was younger, just growing up watching Westerns, I think. But I mean, one still puts the work in, but you just seem like you're having more fun doing it.
But General Bork is, I want to say, he's an unusual kind of villain because he's sort of like a pimp in his own way, and not only that, he portrays where Union soldiers in his way were
Hmm.
the good guys in the past.
Hmm. Yes, which I found interesting because the winning side, if you will, and the Union, that he's taken advantage of the spoils of war, and so which tells you, or at least I felt, that whatever side he was on, wherever he was coming from, whatever place in society he ended up, he would be of the dark side and take advantage. And but here you have him utilizing and hiding behind the righteousness of what he feels were the injustices of the war that were perpetrated by those that he has enslaved and others. Uh, uh, yeah. So I thought it would be an interesting twist to play this character who, no pun intended, but is riding on his high horse
Mhm.
with this false, not in his mind, but this false sense of righteousness and how he would everything he did was justified by the bad things the other people did, when in fact he has he has made uh what where I'm going with the whole thing. When we're in a time of war, everything becomes so gray, that gray area. And I think good people work harder to do good things, and bad people have more space to do bad things.
And as an actor, one of the best things, as you mentioned before, is this is being took place on a real battlefield as
Hmm.
a backdrop. I mean, I'm jealous of the fact that you must rack up miles going to these exotic locations around the world, to
Hmm.
for your job.
Yeah. Well, it's wonderful gig because I always was a traveler, hitchhiked all over the world and worked odd jobs, did all that long before I got into acting and theater and film, and it's been wonderful to go back to all these places that I was before in the world when I didn't have the money, when I was uh, pretty much hitchhiking and staying in youth hostels and things like that, but also to as I said, to revisit those places, but also to go to places I haven't been, and then to mix the adventure of travel in with the adventure of traveling through these great stories and being part of some historical films and some contemporary, but it's a gift. I mean, I'm blessed to be part of this industry and to work with so many great people. And Brian, each one of my experiences are as precious as the other. And it was a joy to work with Brian. And he wrote and directed this, and I look forward to working with him again. And I'm just happy to be part of this one. And I hope everyone enjoys the film.
One last thing, and I have to mention it, that hat. I love the hat that you
Oh
got you
yes,
got to wear.
yeah. And the costume designer, when she said, "Well, I have an idea with the folded flap and the feather," and I thought, "Well, that's interesting." And as soon as she showed it to me, um, yeah, it was wonderful, and I was able to utilize it. Yeah, I had some fun with that. I made it one of not just wardrobe, but one of my props. It was great. Thank you. I'm glad you. Well, you had to notice it. I mean, somebody with a feather in their hat. Hard to get to slip by with that. Yeah.
You made it work, Jeff. So,
Thank you,
Jeff,
sir.
thank you very much for speaking to us for Guns of Redemption. I can't wait to see you again, especially another Western.
Thank you, Gig. Thank you so much.